Hello, grade 3-4, it's Mrs. P. Hi. When school first closed, we were working on bar graphing for everybody, and then grade 4s also worked on pictographs, and grade 3s worked on line plots. But since we both worked on bar graphs, I thought that I would make a video about how to properly create a bar graph, just because there's a few little things that you need to keep your eye out for. And lots of you did this already, so that's awesome. So I have my bar graph here. I have a pencil crayon to fill in my bars. I have my pencil, and I have a notepad to write down my data. So the grade 4s worked on an assignment about a dog park and how many dogs were there at a certain time. So the first thing that I needed them to do was to put their information into a table format. So if I read it, it says, Mars and Samantha were collecting data about how often the local dog park was used. They collected data at 6 different times during the day. At 8 o'clock a.m., there were 7 dogs. Okay, so I've got a time, and I've got a number of dogs. So one thing that we sometimes forget when we make our T-chart is to put these titles here, because I need to know what those numbers are, right? Okay, so time, so the first time it said it was 8 o'clock a.m., and it said there were 7 dogs. At 10 o'clock a.m., there were 15 dogs. At 12 o'clock p.m., so it's lunchtime basically, there were 23 dogs, lots of dogs there. At 2 o'clock p.m., there were 15 dogs. At 4 o'clock p.m., there were 30 dogs. Lots of people go there after work, I guess. And lastly, at 6 o'clock p.m., there were 41, lots of dogs at the dog park. All right, so it says to put the information into a table, which we just did. And it says, please remember to title your columns. We discuss which way a column goes, so we know that columns go this way, rows go this way. Let's see if you can remember. All right, so I've got time, I've got number of dogs. All right, so now I have my information recorded, so now I can move on to my bar graph. So, first thing I need to do, well, I should put my name on it. That would be helpful. So I'll write Mrs. P. And I need a title for this bar graph. So it has something to do with the time, and it has something to do with number of dogs. So, and the dogs are at the dog park, so I could call it maybe number of dogs at the dog park. If I want it to be shorter, I could do dogs at the dog park, dogs visiting the dog park, something like that. I think I like, I'm going to write amount of dogs. And you know what? I'm even going to put in at the local dog park. Notice how, it's a little bit long, but that's okay. Notice how I have uppercase letters on all my important words. So on my little words like of, at, the, I don't worry about uppercases, but this is a title, so it needs to have uppercases. All right. So I have a time and I have a number of dogs. So now I know that I'm going to need to make bars. So I'm thinking that I will put time on the x-axis, which is horizontal. So horizontal axis. So I think I'm going to put time here. Also notice how I have an uppercase. And I'm going to put number of dogs over here. When I make bar graphs, I notice that It's much, much, much easier if the number of something goes on this side. And sometimes you may make a bar graph that actually goes the other way, and then you may want to put number of dogs over here. But for this type of bar graph, a vertical bar graph, to me it's easiest to put the number of whatever you're counting over here. So today it's dogs. All right, so if I look at my data, my highest number is 41. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I cannot go up by ones, so that I don't have enough room to go up by ones. If I went up by twos, that would only get me to 40, because 40 is double 20. So I could go up by threes, that would work. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 49, 50, 51. And you know what? I've already gone high enough because really I only need 41. All right. So one thing I wanted you to notice was how I put the number exactly next to the line. Because what happens, let's just say, so 54 would be next. If I put 54 here, it makes it very difficult for the person reading the graph to know exactly where 54 is. I mean, they could estimate, but if all the numbers were just in the spaces and not exactly perfectly on the line, it would be quite difficult for them to read your graph. So I always, always, always suggest, please, please, please make sure your numbers are right on the line. Okay, so I have some different times to add. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many spaces do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so I could go every second one, but it won't fit because that would put me at needing 12. So instead, I'm just going to fill in every section. All right, so my first one's 8 o'clock a.m. 8 o'clock. I'm going to write a.m. in uppercase. 10 o'clock a.m. 12 o'clock a.m. So it's really every 2 hours. They check the time. 2 o'clock. Oops, I made a mistake. This needs to say p.m. p.m. 2 o'clock p.m. 4 o'clock p.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. Now, it would look nice if I could put a space in between each one, but I want to be consistent the whole time. I don't want to have one space in between all of them and then just have 2 bars next to each other. I want it to be consistent throughout. Okay, so at 8 o'clock a.m. there were 7 dogs. So now I don't have a 7, but I know exactly where the 6 is because I put a 6 here. So I could assume that there's a 7 and I could assume that there's an 8 about there. So I would put my line, I'd make my bar to about right here. About right there. Okay. Next, at 10 o'clock a.m. there were 15 dogs. Oh, and I have, right, a 15. I don't have to estimate where the next number might be. Notice how I'm taking my time. Oh, I notice how I'm using pencil. Using pencil. I always bug you guys about using pencil to do your math. Okay, 23 is my next number, 12 o'clock p.m. Okay, so I could say 22 is probably there, 23 is probably there. So I'm gonna go about there. Right there should be good. All right. And one thing you may have been wondering, which is why do we graph our data? Well, it's actually, once you see all the bars lined up, it's a really quick visual about, let's just say we wanted to know what time of day is the dog park most busy. It gives us a really fast visual to be able to tell what time. Okay, so I'm at 2 o'clock 15 again. There we go. Okay, 4 o'clock has 30. So I have to go all the way up here. 30. Trying to do a nice straight line. See how easy it is to tell? Right now, as of right now, it's so easy to tell. Oh, at 4 o'clock it was the busiest. But we do have one more bar to add. Oh, and it's 41, so obviously at 6 o'clock it's the busiest. 41, oh, 42, I'm gonna say it's just a tad below 42, but not quite at 42. So I'm gonna go right there. All right. So I'm basically done my bar graph. The only thing left that I should do is I should color in. And you know what, now that I'm looking at it and that all the bars are next to each other, I actually probably should pick a different color to maybe alternate so it's easier for our reader to see the difference between the bars. So maybe I should, so I chose black, maybe the next color I could go do a pattern maybe like black, blue, black, blue, black, blue. I think that would be okay. I think that would look good. All right, so the main things that I wanted to highlight was please always make sure that you're using uppercase letters because everything on your graph is basically like a title, right? Because you have a title for the numbers, you have a title for your categories, right? And you have a title up here. The other thing was please make sure that if you're skip counting or counting by ones, it doesn't matter. Please make sure that you put the number right on the line. Okay, because now this makes it really easy to read. So if I thought, how many dogs went to the dog park at 4 o'clock? Oh, 30. I don't have to guess. Here, I know that exactly this line is 42 and exactly this line is 39. So I would think, well, there's only a 40 and a 41 in between, so it must be 41 because it's closer to 42. Okay, so just to finish this, I need to go maybe blue, black, blue, black, blue, and then I would be done. Thank you, grade 3-4, for listening.